Hello guys, good evening. Just want to do a 10-minute recap of today's action. Was going through some personal stuff, so couldn't do a big recap, but I just want to talk about the dip buy, how to dip buy, how to focus, have your focus list of the stocks that you're going to buy on a day like today, where we have a dip, where we have market pulling back the first red day. So how to analyze the curls and see if the market is going to curl or not, using the power of the Ripster clouds and using the concepts of the pre-market level and support and resistance. So I'm going to start quickly. I'm going to try to cover all that. First of all, it was a pretty good day in the community. We had only 7% traders red. The good thing was a lot of traders focused, the names they focused on actually worked, and we'll talk about it. Just a recap of the day today. Memory stocks were red, CPUs were red, data center was red, robotics was mostly red, NVIDIA suppliers, TPU suppliers, quantums, nuclears, weak. They were mostly weak stocks. Rare earth was also weak. So those sectors were weak, right? So of course the banks were strong. That's why SPY was running initially. The fintech was strong, space stocks was wrong, that's why we chose Rocket Lab. Biotech was pretty good today, dividend stocks. So we saw some rotation happening in the morning, right? But still there were trades to be taken, and I'll show you how we found those setups, how we made all those good trades. First of all, I'm going to quickly talk about here. I'm going to quickly talk about SPY QQQ today. Because SPY was gapping down, the plan was simple on SPY QQQ. Market trying to curl, watch the amateur move. Amateur move is the initial move. We need Tech and Mag 7 to be strong. VIX has to break 1630 and yields have to stay lower for the market to curl. Pay special attention. VIX has to break 1630. So be patient. Trade versus the pre-market levels and follow the clouds. So what did the market do today? So what market was doing was, if you see that, SPY was strong right out of the gate. You see that? This is the cloud call. Right out of the gate, it was pushing there. And what did I say? If VIX breaks 1630, you take the calls. So traders in the market took the SPY calls, rode all the way the 512 calls. But you see QQQ was bearish. You see this candle? Right? It pulled back. It was not until 1030, 1040 algo that marked the QQQ also curled, and then it curled, and of course it's dumping after hours. But this action on SPY, this action on QQQ gave us a lot of setups that we could long. So the SPY was long, future was long. That's a good simple strategy of the VIX. You just need to analyze that. When I was on a live video, I was on a live call in the morning, and that's what I discussed and guided the traders. So now let's see how were we like so good day today? Because we had a focus list, right? So so Rocket Lab, big focus. Why? Because SpaceX IPO is coming. It was at 150s, came back all the way to 110. So that was my main focus, and I put it as a highlight. I always highlight as a red, and I said look for the curls over 113 versus the pre-market lows. So that's what I said, look for the curls over 113 versus pre-market lows. My focus, because I was, and we had our full list. If I go through the full list, which we'll talk about it, I gave the name Circle, AOI, Snow, CRDO, Dell, 5-6 names, which were my focus to trade the bounce. Same names were on my day 2 sheet, Marvel, Dell, AOI, Snow, top. I put them on the top. So those were my focus. Those were the first names I was going to look for the bounce. You might ask me why I was not looking at Qualcomm, why was I not looking at Tesla. I was interested in the names who had recently made a big move, and the pullback was nice, right? The pullback was decent. So Rocket Lab also I know, because the SpaceX IPO is coming. That's why Rocket Lab was my high confidence to look for the bounce. And with the cloud system, it's easy to get a bounce trade. You see where it was trading from 150s all the way to 110. So no way I was leaving Rocket Lab today. And also some traders are swinging it as well. But let's see here. So Rocket Lab, as soon as the market open, I see this strong strength in the candle. I tell the traders long versus 111 curls is a long, and it started to move. I told the traders to move the stops up. The first target I gave was 115. We hit the 115. Next target I gave 116. We hit that too, and we hit 119, right? Almost $6 per share profit. We did pull back into the clouds, so we took the profits, but then again it curled again. This is called a midday cloud setup. So a lot of the traders got back in, and they traded it all the way to 122. Even if you have 100 shares, that's $1,000 trade, right? Risking $100, $1,000, you could make 5-6 grand. So that was a setup, right? Curl, because it was over 34.50, our plan in the pre-market I gave and hit the MTF magnet was a pretty good setup, right? So we hit the MTF magnet. Curls in the morning hit the MTF magnet. Now we were also focusing on some of the earning plays. So of course CIEN, which is our photonics name, right? So it had earnings today. We'll discuss the other earnings plays as well. CIEN, I said bearish bias to short under 2021 MTF to short the pops, right? So I highlighted it as a red, main focus that we want to trade that setup. So as soon as I see the weakness in CIEN and you see MTF to the MTF magnet short setup. Repeat for life, MTF magnet short setup. So I told the traders right away, short. If you couldn't get the entry, you wait for the pop in the smaller time frame, you can short it. 934 I said short, and I told the traders the target is 500 and MTF magnet. We hit 510, we hit 500, we even hit 490. So I told the traders to cover half, watch 500, and then once we reclaimed the 512, that became a long. And then you could long scalp it and get out of the short. So it gave $20 to the curl, and we got over $30-40 to the downside, right? So time stepped, no hindsight, no BS. So that's how you trade the earning setup. So let's look at the next earning setup that we traded. So was CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike, we got to stop out a little bit here, so I can show you in the screenshot. So see, when the market opened, I told the traders to curl. Initially we longed it, and then we got stopped out. Then it curled again. You see the Ripster Clouds that has said curled again. I told the traders if 700 breaks, we are going to see higher. Stops at 685. And CrowdStrike also completed the MTF magnet setup. So this is MTF magnet setup. It's you hold till the MTF magnets, right? So what was the pre-market plan? CrowdStrike, call over 680, no go under 665. Neutral bias was the software sector as well. 660, 65, 680, right? So as soon as push was 680, we long it. We did get stopped out, but I said curl again, and we ran all the way up on CrowdStrike to the MTF magnet setup. Another one of my repeatable setup now, surprise there. So you can see step-by-step guidance, and traders literally killed it. I mean, it was a huge day. Some of the traders, it was one of the huge day. So let's look at the next one. That was AVGO. So AVGO, I was initially avoiding it in the morning. The plan was simple, sitting at 50-55 MTF, short if it breaks that, watch the market and 400 level. If basing curl over that, only if the semiconductors are strong. So what happened? AVGO, nothing to do there. Initially, choppy. So I avoided it, but it's bouncing from the MTF clouds. Then later in the day, I told the traders you can call it versus 407. And you could see it never broke the 407. And I told them it will be choppy because it's under the 3450. So it was okay trade, nothing crazy. But if you just risk the 400 level, you could definitely make a nice trade on that AVG earning plays. So those were our earning plays. Let's look at some of our really solid plays, also with a swing there as well. Let's start with Dell here. I also tweeted it. If you see my morning tweet, I tweeted that you could trade the Dell. So these are our day 2 plays here. You see Dell, 404, 400 psych setup, and Marvell 300 setup. So Marvell was also a top day, and CRDO trade versus 2021 MTF setup. So both of the trades I gave in the morning, I said CRDO versus 200, Dell versus 400. In our swing as well, I sent out the update to the traders, Dell adding swing at 406. I was a little late, but the point was we were ready with it, right? So we had a pre-market plan because Dell has been, big earning, huge run, 489. So we were focused on Dell, you see. So right when I saw this curl happening right here, that's when I longed it. Ripster, 3450 curls. So we got it, and Dell ran all the way to 430. We trimmed some of our 30% of our swing. We're holding, we'll see what happens tomorrow, but 400 is our risk level. So that's how we got Dell. And same thing for CRDO, 200, right? So we were ready, pre-market plan, MTF, you see that? MTF to the MTF, and it ran to 227. If you bought it, versus 200, right here is where you were supposed to buy it, and that was all you were supposed to do. And it ran all the way to MTF, and it ran to 227. Why CRDO? amazing earnings. I gave this swing from 154 to 200 as well on Twitter, on X. And today it was just amazing earning on CRDO. You could see my morning tweet here as well. Dell versus 400, CZ versus 200, and AVGO defending 400. So now a hindsight from me. So, we are not like alert service or anything, but we are better than them. We guide the traders, we teach them. I teach you and I show you the live guidance, right? So that was there. And then of course we had Marvell. Marvell was one of our top names. Marvell day 2, I put it on the top list, right? I put it on the top list. I make this recap. I make this plan live starting at 9 a.m. so traders can see me make a plan. So 300 magnet above trade versus 1 hour MTF. But note that Marvell trade came later. It came at from 1 hour MTF, right? So it came right here. This was the trade 10:20 when the Nasdaq started to push. So that was your long setup, ride the clouds all the way up. Traders really did pretty good on Marvell today in the community. So pretty good, right? Yeah. Clint did pretty good. Day trades, man. Yeah, everybody just rode it all the way. That's why it was a huge day. So there was many day 2 setups, right? AVVX was biotech. I missed the swing ads, but today it ran from the 1 hour MTF clouds. It was one of our top day 2 plays, so that was good. Circle is one which was disappointed. I was disappointed in it. It was my top focus as well, but it failed with Bitcoin, so we stopped out there. So overall, it was a good day, guys. That's how you make a focus list. Use Ripster clouds. You use MTF clouds. You play earning setups for a consistent win. You never trade anything where there's a no system. Understand support, resistance, pre-market plan, everything, and trade according to that. All right. Hopefully this helps you. Hopefully next time there's a dip, we'll see what happens in the market. We'll doing the same thing tomorrow live in the community. You guys have a good night. Thank you.